Tuesday's only got 4 games on, but that means there are plenty of opportunities to stream players in. Michael Bolton, what do you know about streaming?
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy, your daily NBA fantasy podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd, and subscribe to my other channel to see me complete the Blue Overalls Challenge. I'm also the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com, and you can find me on Twitter, as always, at redrock_bball, on TikTok at redrock_bball, and on Instagram at Locked On Fantasy Basketball. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, use the code LOCKEDONNBA, and get $20 off your first purchase. What time is it? Game time. I've also got the old newsletters. Every team, your favorite team, across the NBA, has a newsletter. Go to lockedondaily.com to get all the information about your favorite team and see some words from me in those newsletters as well. Of course, you're double banging, you're thumbing up, and you're leaving comments. We all love that. Again, I did a waiver wire show earlier today, and there were a bunch of technical difficulties. I don't know what was going on. So one of the things that I'd planned on doing just disappeared out of my thing, and as I was recording it and trying to get everything working after 4 reboots of my computer, I missed a whole section about injury replacement players. I put a section of that in the YouTube description and was talking about guys like Brandon Pajemski, talking about Grade A Dick, talking about there's about 3 or 4 other players that we're talking about, which I've got the list there on the description. So when you are looking at that YouTube video, there was supposed to be an injury replacement play section. Again, highlighting the Dick stuff for Toronto and Pajemski with Curry and Melton both out. We talked about that. We talked about values in New Orleans and Memphis and all that sort of stuff with players hurt. But I don't know what happened, so I do apologize. That will I will endeavor to make sure that doesn't occur next time around. Like I said, we're talking Tuesday, October the 29th. There are 4 games on across the NBA, so a pretty light go of things. Let's see what is on my radar for these 4 games. A lot of these games, 3 of them in fact, include games of teams who play on Monday. So it's very back-to-back heavy. Now, that can open up opportunities, but also some of those opportunities we just don't know because things happen on Monday in those games that can really move things around. First game that we take a look at here is the Denver Nuggets taking on the Brooklyn Nets. Denver is coming in on a back-to-back here. This is actually the first of a back-to-back for Brooklyn as well. Schedule-wise, when we're talking about... Does something look a bit wrong? No, it's all right. I thought something looked wrong. No, it's all good here. Schedule-wise, the Nuggets go Tuesday, Friday, Saturday, rest of the week, and then they have 4 the following week, while Brooklyn has 4 games in 6 nights starting Tuesday. So it's Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, within 3 in week 3. Who is out? Bojan Bogdanovic is out for Brooklyn. Day'Ron Sharpe is out. Trendon Watford is out. And Ben Simmons is out. So Simmons is sitting the first game of the back-to-back. He'll be available for the Wednesday game, so not playing on Tuesday. The Nuggets are 6.5-point favorites here. We're not going to talk about what we're watching there, but what we do want to watch on the Brooklyn side is Cam Thomas. Mainly just to see, is there any change in the role? I actually don't think there will be. I very, very clear. It often gets misconstrued, but I'm very clear. I don't like watching Cam Thomas play. Simple as that. I don't like that style of basketball, although it is better this season. But I was very bullish on taking him in the 60s in drafts this year. I drafted him in quite a few leagues, and he's well exceeding my expectations. So let's see. The steal numbers probably come down, and the efficiency is always going to be up and down, but it's more about minutes, role, assist rate. The rebounds are actually well up as well from Thomas. And we'll see how it changes with Simmons not there. If there's any adjustment, is it worse? Is it better? I don't know. But we'll watch that. In terms of streams, these are all, again, we have a certain cutoff we look at here. And Westbrook's the guy that's available. Christian Brown is not. He's 88% rostered on our metric. And Westbrook's 30% because he's bad. He sucks, Russell Westbrook. He's terrible. The price of the brick is going down in a big way. But when we're talking about streams on a 4-game day, if he plays 20 minutes and more than 20% of his shots go in, could he have 10, 5, and 5? 2 steals? Yeah, I guess it's possible. On the Brooklyn side of things, Dorian Finney-Smith, I'm going to guess, is going to start. With no Ben Simmons, it'll be interesting whether they put Claxton back into that role. I'd also watch for Claxton maybe sitting on Wednesday as he returns from the hamstring injury. How they replace Simmons, I don't know. Will it be Claxton? Will it be Jalen Wilson? that moves into the starting line? Will it be Zion Williams? Will it be Noah Clowney? I actually don't know how they're going to replace those 25 minutes or so. So that'll be one to watch. But Finney-Smith, I think he's going to stick in there. As much as it doesn't make any sense, he will stick in there. And he was bad on Sunday, but we've had a couple of decent games. And again, our opportunities or our options are relatively limited on this 4-game day. There's just not as many strong options that are available to us, or that avail themselves to us, which is a good way of saying that also. The second game of the day, which is not the second game of the day because I pushed the wrong button. That's a spoiler. We'll go back to that one because I hit the wrong one. It is the Dallas Mavericks and the Minnesota Timberwolves is game 2. Dallas plays Monday, so they're on a back-to-back heading into this one. Dallas plays also Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday, heading into a 4-game week 3. Minnesota, only a 3-game week, Tuesday, Friday, Saturday. So a weird week where they play one game before Friday, so 1 game in 4 nights, and then they have a back-to-back. They have 4 in week 3 as well. Injury-wise, it's Dante Exum, who's out for Dallas, and Maxi Kleber is out on Monday with a hamstring strain. He's had a lot of these lower body injuries. I'm really skeptical that Maxi Kleber is going to be available to play on Tuesday, so I'm going to label him doubtful for now. The Wolves are 3.5-point favorites here, which is interesting. We'll see how this one goes. Obviously, we know what happened in the playoffs last season, but Dallas goes on the road to take on Minnesota. I guess part of this is the fact that it is on a back-to-back, so that does hamper that team that is on the second night of the back-to-back, because back-to-backs are great. We love them. We have to have them. We love anything we can do to make the quality of basketball worse. On Minnesota, what am I watching? It's Dante DiVincenzo. I would say that the majority of people who drafted Dante DiVincenzo were higher on him than I was, so they will be more disappointed than I am in him. That's fair to say. Let's see what changes. His shooting has been bad, and I do expect that's going to improve. It's more about role. Is he a 26-minute guy? Is he a 30-minute guy? At the moment, it's 26, and he remains the 7th man in this rotation. But let's see how that plays out. I'm holding him, but there are going to be some ups and downs very clearly. In terms of stream guys, there's not a lot in Dallas. It's either Najee Marshall or it's Jaden Hardy, and these are just deeper league sort of stuff. While for Minnesota, it's going to be the perennial stream legend, Jaden McDaniels. You never know what you're going to get. Fouling out in 15 minutes. A game where he goes 7 of 8 with 17 points and 2 steals. A game where he plays 35 minutes and has a Tony Snell. Who knows? It's probably more the Tony Snell. But he is a starter who's probably going to play close to 30 minutes most nights. And that is just useful in itself, because the more you're out there, unless you're Tony Snell, the more opportunities you have to do things. There are great per-minute players. We know this. We talked a lot on the Waiver Wire show about Donovan Clingan. Great per-minute guy. But if you're just out there for more minutes, you just do have an ability. If we're going to play the probabilities, you're going to have more opportunities to do more things. That's relatively easy logic to follow, but we don't always follow that ourselves. 2 more games to talk about. We'll do that in a sec, but today's episode is brought to you by the Game Time app. Game Time. What innovative legends these guys are. There's always something new. There's the views from your seat. Bang. There's flash deals. Bang. But now, Game Time Picks is the newest thing that enables you to double bang, because what Game Time Picks does, not only does it go in for the first bang and save you time, it cuts out the fluff. It shows you the good tickets. Instead of every ticket, it prioritizes the ones that are good value for a good seat. So that's a single bang. The double bang is that saves you money as well, because you're not overspending for something that's not as good. Time, money, bang, bang. There's plenty of things others that that's not English. Plenty of other things that Game Time does as well. The views from your seat, as I just mentioned. The all-in pricing, which you can turn on in the app. So when you get to checkout, you've already seen the full price. You don't worry about added fees. It's all just there on that individual ticket. Job loss protection. Event cancellation protection. So many things to make the experience on Game Time better than you would find it anywhere else. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, use the code LOCKEDONNBA, and you'll save $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create the account, use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's 9:13 a.m., but it's also game time. Okay, we're still looking at things that are on my radar here with 2 more games left to discuss for Tuesday in the league. As I said, there's only the 4 games on, and this one is a double banger, a double back-to-backer. It is the Sacramento Kings and the Utah Jazz. Both of these teams play on Monday, and they both play on Tuesday. So there's there's going to be stuff that happens that we need to be aware of. The Kings are already 4.5-point favorites here, and in terms of the schedule, both of them have 3 more games left after Monday. Sacramento goes Tuesday, Friday, Saturday, so a second back-to-back, and Utah goes Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. The Kings play 4 games in Week 3, and the Jazz play 3 in Week 3. In terms of injuries, Devin Carter is out, Orlando Robinson is out, Isaiah Collier is out, and John Zhuzhang is out for Monday. I've got to put him questionable. I don't think it matters. And then Drew Eubanks popped up as questionable for Monday. I'll put him questionable here. Also, don't think it really matters at all in terms of anyone's fantasy league whatsoever. The stream guy in Sacramento is probably Kevin Huerter. If Huerter and Keon Ellis were getting equal minutes, it would be Ellis. But Ellis DNP'd last game. So we're going to get an opportunity to see what they do with Keon Ellis on Monday and on Tuesday. And if Ellis gets back and plays 25 minutes out of nowhere, despite the deprioritization, then we consider it. And if Huerter goes back and plays 18 minutes, then he's not a stream. But at the moment, the way they are using him is 26 minutes for Huerter, and he was pretty good last game in terms of putting up stats. I think he was a minus 30 in that game. Maybe not, but he was close enough. And that has value in getting the points and the threes that he provides. And that is the direction they are currently leading. In Utah, it's a team with a lot of young players, but there's just no real good streaming options. Now, check if Jordan Clarkson is available. Check if someone dropped Keontae George or Colin Sexton. They're the guys you go with. But in terms of using the standard I'm going to hold to every other team, the guy who looks there is like Cody Williams, who might have 1 shot in 20 minutes. He might have a better game, obviously, but there's not a lot. There's not a lot of value in terms of the guys that are likely available in the majority of spots. Clarkson, George, Sexton, sure, if they're there. Hendricks, absolutely, we grab them. But they're rostered in most 12-teamers, most super competitive formats as well. Let's go on to the final game of the day for Tuesday. It is the Pelicans and the Warriors, the only game that doesn't involve a team on a back-to-back, although the Pelicans are on a back-to-back heading to Wednesday, as are the Warriors. So it's the first game of a back-to-back for both of these teams. The Pelicans go Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, so they got 4 in 6, the same as the Nets do, while the Warriors go Tuesday, Wednesday, and then a break until Saturday. The Pelicans play 3 games Week 3, the Warriors play 4 games Week 3. Injuries. DeJounte is out, Trey Murphy is out, we know that, but for Golden State is where things really, really took a turn here, because Steph is out, for this week at least, and DeAnthony Melton, who would have been one of the best adds to replace Steph, he is out for at least the next 2 games. Andrew Wiggins has also popped up as questionable with a back strain. So that 12-man rotation is already down to 9. Maybe. At least 10, but maybe 9. So what are we watching for? In New Orleans, what is going on with Zion? Why are the minutes so low? What did he have tuberculosis? What illness did he have? Why is he playing so low? Why is he shooting 25%? None of that makes any sense, and I had Zion, I think, on 2 of my fantasy teams, and of course I lost because I missed a game, and then he was terrible in the other 2, so shouts to you, my guy. I hope that he turns it around really quickly, but it's been a really, confounding start to the season, and I want to see it change. In terms of the Warriors, we got to do it. We got to do it. Because Draymond Green has looked terrible. Now, there is a big opportunity here, because the amount of ball handlers on this team is down to 1. And that's not true. I guess you could say Pajimski and Kyle Anderson are sort of ball handlers, but it's Draymond. He's going to have to play a lot of point guard. He's looked dreadful. In the past, when Steph has missed games, he's been even worse. So, we're holding him. Back-to-back, no Steph, assist opportunities rise. But, man, it looks pretty bad at the moment for Draymond Green. In terms of stream guys for the Pelicans, Eve Messi, Jordan Hawkins are grabbed in most spots, but they would be the priority in terms of the way that we're using it here. Javonte Green is the next guy up, who is always a sneaky category league play. He will play 20 minutes. They don't have forwards. He might get you 2 steals. He'll be pretty good on field goals. But Messi and old mate Hawkins are going to be the better options. They're just, in the majority of leagues, they're snapped up. On the Warriors, check for Pajemski. Check for Hield. Check for Wiggins. They're the guys. But if we want to go a little bit deeper, because again, they're going to be grabbed in most spots, it's probably Kyle Anderson. You could make an argument for Moses Moody or Gary Payton, but Anderson is going, he might get the standard Kyle Anderson game is a 9, 6, and 6. If he plays 25 minutes, he might get 9, 6, and 6. He might get a steal. Hold me to that. Let's come back and look at Anderson's stat line tomorrow. Does he get 9, 6, and 6? That's what he can do. Now, he also forgot how to shoot completely last season, and he's sort of not even really been an every night rotation piece with this team. I think he might have actually even been out of the rotation last game. But they're going to need somebody to handle the ball. And Guy Santos is not that. Quentin Post is not that. I don't even know if Pat Spencer's still on this team. Maybe he's that. So, Reese Beekman... Does Reese Beekman play? He's a point guard. Maybe he plays. Anyway, Kyle Anderson would be the preference to me. Although, again, Podziemski, Hield, Wiggins, we all go with those guys ahead. And then Moody's sort of in the middle there, but we need someone to get usage, which Moody can do, and someone to handle the ball, which Moody cannot do. So it's going to be really interesting to see the way that Golden State approaches this game without the two guys who could be considered point guards and then having no... Again, maybe honestly, maybe it is Reese Beekman. Man, I hadn't even considered that possibility. Deeper leagues. There you go. Reese Beekman. That's a player. Big steals guy, good assist guy out of Virginia. Reese Beekman. Didn't think I'd mention that name. I'm going to say Reese Beekman again. Just Reese Beekman. What should we call Reese Beekman? The Toucan? The Toucan. Good name. Let's take a look at the schedule and how we play that out over the next couple of days. Who got the back-to-backs? This is Tuesday into Wednesday. 3 teams do it. Brooklyn, New Orleans. 3 teams. Brooklyn, New Orleans, and Golden State. We talked about them already. These are the players who are available in over 50% of Yahoo leagues that have the Tuesday, Wednesday. Now, Wednesday is 11 games, so you might not have a space for them, but Dennis Schroeder, Andrew Wiggins, you would start those guys on Wednesday anyway. With how Schroeder's playing and the absences in Golden State, you start them both. They're very clear ads. Dorian Finney-Smith, less so, but yeah. Like Eve Messi, Jordan Hawkins, would you start them on an 11-game Wednesday? I think it's borderline. And the other one there is Daniel Tice, who is like okay. He's not awesome, like he's fine. You could throw Javonte Green in there as well. It's sort of a mix and match. But yeah, the obvious ones there are Schroeder and Wiggins, and then Messi and Hawkins with Finney-Smith in that zone there. Also, let's get chunky. Let's take a look at the next 5-day period. Remember that some of those days will be higher volume days, some are lower volume days. Take a look at your roster as to how it makes sense. So we're going Tuesday through to Saturday. These guys all play 3 games, and they're all under 50% rostered. Jeremy Sohan just needs to be rostered. Dennis Schroeder needs to be rostered. Malik Monk. I do believe Malik Monk needs to be rostered. Now, that one might be somewhat controversial, but I think he does. Lou Dort. Yeah, he had a really good game on Sunday. We don't do it this a long-term thing, but 3 games in 5 nights. The volume there, preserving ads, makes some sense. Trey Mann should be rostered. 3 games, 5 nights, bang, we're off. And Tamani Kamara with 3 games in 5 nights as well. He's starting. You're not going to have Shaedon Sharp back, so Kamara is going to have a lot more opportunities to do the thing that we need him to do, which is get us fantasy value. Let's take a look now. We're heading to looking at streams of the day. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. For different sizes of category leagues and different formats of points leagues, we'll take a squiz. We'll do that right now. The stream of the day for 10-team category league, this is, again, I'll mention it for the first time this week, and we won't do it again this week. Roster percentage cutoff for 10-team category streaming is 65% on our advanced roster metric, so Eve Messi qualifies. Definitely stream him in. Got the back-to-back. He's not going to blow you away every night, but he's there. 12-teamer, we use a 45% cutoff, so Dorian Finney-Smith, maybe 12 points, 2 threes, a block, a steal, 7 rebounds, no Ben Simmons. Interesting. 14-team cat league, I go to Kevin Huerter. It's iffy, but 14 points and 3 threes is definitely possible. And then Kyle Anderson in a 16-team. What did we say? 9, 6, and 6. For the Yahoo and ESPN points, I look at 50% rostership over on the Yahoo site, and Dennis Schroeder is still at 47. That is way too low. And the Dennis Schroeder roster percentage might be a great way of me trying to figure out the amount of dead leagues or incredibly shallow leagues on Yahoo. Because if he still sits at 47% or only pushes up to 60 after another week of really hot games, then I will know how to readjust and recalibrate our roster percentage numbers. Because I think last year the guy I used for that was Grayson Allen, who was rolling top 60 all the way through and sat at 70% rostered, meaning that probably 30% of leagues were dead. So we'll see who that guy... It might be Schroeder this year. It might be Dyson Daniels. We'll see how we go in terms of using a benchmark player to understand how leagues are processing over at Yahoo because, it's annoying to not be able to figure out what's actually happening over there. Let's take a look at 10-team stream options. This is category league stuff. Eve Messi, Dorian Finney-Smith, Kevin Huerter, Jaden McDaniels. Russell Westbrook, yuck, and Javonte Green. Again, Green is one that's not for everybody, but he's a steals, blocks, rebounds, field goal guy as a forward-eligible player, which is not a common sight. For 12-teamers, we can go to two of the Warriors guys, Kyle Anderson and Gary Payton. Remembering, if Wiggins is there, if Podziemski is there, if Hield is there, we go for those guys. But they're not in most formats. So Kyle Anderson, Gary Payton, Daniel Tice, Noah Clowney, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, we're just sort of looking for 20, 22 minutes a night. Clowney will be interesting. Does he pick it up more with Simmons not there? Is it Jalen Wilson who gets it? Is it Zion Williams who gets more playing time? Is it Shake Milton? Shake. Maybe. The other one there is Keon Ellis, who I have no confidence in. He played 0 minutes. At some point, Mike Brown, unless he's one of the worst coaches ever, has to play Keon Ellis again. Has to. So that's risky, because he might get a 0. But, it doesn't make any sense. And sometimes you've got to go a little bit with sense, sacrifice short-term idiocy, and then, assess and readjust. For deeper leagues, Jose Alvarado's minutes aren't changing with DeJounte Murray out, but he can still get you a steal or a couple of assists and a 3 or 2. So he's worth a deep league stream. Kevon Looney got more minutes than Trace Jackson-Davis last game. Don't know if that holds, especially against New Orleans. We'll find out. Najee Marshall, Zaire Williams is there, Trey Lyles, and Moses Moody, who, I like Moody. I'm not sure how much the Curry and Melton absences help him, considering he's not that sort of player, but the opportunity for more shots and he can get red hot, and I do really like him. So he is in that mix as well. For Yahoo Points Leagues, these are all 50% plus available. Dennis Schroeder, Malik Monk, Andy Wiggins, Jordan Clarkson, Russell Westbrook, and Christian Brown. Also throw Jordan Hawkins into that mix, and I think Eve Misi into that mix as well. And for ESPN points, we go to Dennis Schroeder, Malik Monk, Andrew Wiggins, the two Jordans, Hawkins and Clarkson, and Christian Brown. And that is a nice little short, sharp streaming show for whatever day it is. I hit the wrong button there, but that's okay. We'll hit that one again. For Tuesday, 4 games on, looking at some schedule stuff. I'll be back later on with a big recap of all of Monday night's games. It might be like 30 minutes later than usual, so just be aware of that. It is coming, but it will be about 30 minutes, probably about 30 minutes later than usual. Hit the thumb, double bang, and guys, we are done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.